Hello everybody, Jason up, New Age Revolution Cave. It is Friday, and we are all set up for Nup All Night to happen tonight because the child is having a sleepover. So that opens the door for me to be down here all night long. Oh yeah, unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow, so it's not going to be a 3 a.m. Nup All Night. It's probably going to be a midnight Nup All Night, but that's okay. That's plenty of time to watch Monsters and to finish Video Dead. I told you I was going to sell Monsters after I watched it because A, I hate it, and B, it's a $250 box set. So whoosh, off you go. All right, before that, of course, I wanted to do a show. Wanted to do a show in the middle of Nup All Night. That's right, we stopped Nup All Night to do our Friday show, and our Friday show is things about wrestling that make you go, That's right. You know, I've been watching wrestling since I was 8 years old, and I just love the innocence of the kayfabe era when I took everything as it was handed to me. I didn't question anything. I cheered for the good guys. I booed the bad guys because I was supposed to. And I bought into it 110%, right? And that's, in fact, I think a wrestling term, 110%. I bought into it fully, and I never questioned anything. And I don't remember when I started to question things. I do, actually. I think I remember at an early age, 10, 11, 12, figuring things out by pausing the remote control, the VCR, pausing the VCR while watching a wrestling tape and seeing punches completely miss and seeing, drop kicks miss and things like that. And I was like, but I never really questioned stuff until I got a little bit older. And there's lots of things about wrestling that using an adult mind, you go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And here's some of them. I think the most common wrestling thing that makes you go, is the Irish whip. What is the Irish whip? You say, well, it's the whip into the ropes. It's something that's been done in wrestling since the day one. It's like the most common wrestling thing aside from the lockup, the collar and elbow tie up. But after that, you usually go into the side headlock, and then you go into the whip into the rope. Or you take your guy by the arm, you back him up against one set of ropes, you throw him into the other. The guy runs across the ropes, hits the ropes, and then comes bounding back to you, usually into some kind of destruction. Now, why? Do these ropes have this unstoppable elasticity rebound effect? Are you unable to stop yourself from bouncing off of these ropes and sprinting full force into a clothesline or a kick or a power slam or something? Can you not stop your own momentum? In fact, can you not stop your own momentum when your opponent is whipping you into the ropes or the turnbuckle for that matter? Why can't you just stop? Right? I never understood the Irish whip. The Superplex. Cowboy Bob Orton, right? Let's think Cowboy Bob Orton. Cowboy Bob Orton takes his opponent up to the second rope. And some wrestlers, in some cases, take their opponent up to the top rope. They get them into the suplex, wrap the arm around the head, grab the trunks, and they both go backwards, right? But only the person getting the superplex is in pain or knocked out. The person delivering the superplex, perfectly fine, absolutely fine. But they're both landing on their backs off the top rope, pretty much the same height. Only the person delivering the suplex is unharmed. Now, let's say Bob Orton is bringing you up to the top rope and he's getting you ready for the superplex, and you come back and you hit Bob Orton with a couple of punches, and then you push him off the ropes and he lands on his back he's hurt. But if he took you over himself, he's not hurt. That doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. Missing a drop kick knocks out the other guy, knocks out the person delivering the drop kick, right? So you got a drop kick coming. You go up, you kick your opponent, you pretty much either land on your back like the Rock and Roll Express used to do, or you land on your side or on your belly, and the opponent takes the force of your feet and you spring back up and you're fine. If your opponent holds on to the rope and you miss the drop kick, you're out. You're in pain. But you fell the exact same way on the exact same mat, but you, sir, are hurting because your opponent held onto the rope and you missed the drop kick. Doesn't make any sense to me. Parts unknown, weight unknown. Now, look, as a kid, you just bought this and it was fine and it just made the guy more intimidating. But as an adult, you just can't buy into this. Just like you can't buy into the masked wrestler never showing their identity. Look, this is a business, right? You've got to fill out W-2s. You've got to fill out licenses. You know, you've got to have paychecks addressed to you. Don't you think we need to know where you're from? And don't you think at some point during the application process, during the W-2 filling out process, and for our overseas folks, W-2s are how we pay this country our taxes. Don't you think that the IRS needs to know your address? So you have to put it on the form. Now, my way of thinking is the only people who aren't supposed to know where you're from is us. So to kind of like make this one a little more understandable, the office knows where you're from. The office knows where the missing link's from, actually knows his home address, but he's not going to let anybody in the crowd know. That I can understand. But if the entire organization, the entire WWF has no idea where this person is from or how much they weigh, I'm not buying it. We've seen fights where people are punched. Some of us, unfortunately, have been in fights where we've been punched or have punched others. If we've been punched, if we've been bumped, if we've been accidentally elbowed by our brother, we get a black eye, right? We've had black eyes from running into doors. We've had black eyes from catching an elbow when we're goofing around with our family, our brothers, our sisters, our friends. Bam, we get hit. We get a bloody nose from just getting tapped and hitting the nose with a football. You get a bloody nose, right? Wrestlers spend the entire match punching each other in the face without any kind of bruising whatsoever. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. When a wrestler is busted wide open and bleeding, and you got his opponent punching him in the forehead where the blood is coming out, there's no blood on the guy's knuckles. What sense does that make? You're punching a bloody mess of a forehead, and you have no blood on your knuckles? That doesn't make any sense. But how come guys never got black eyes? Shouldn't you have a black eye shortly into the match? Shouldn't you have a black eye after the first couple of punches? You should at least have some swelling. Watch a UFC fight where they punch each other in the face and they come out looking like, cheeseburger or hamburger meat, right? Not the case in wrestling. No, indeed. One that I didn't have written down, but on the same, you take moves from jiu-jitsu, the arm bar, right? The sleeper hold, And real fighters are either passing out or tapping out within seconds. How on earth are wrestlers able to basically survive what is a rear naked choke? A sleeper hold is a rear naked choke. In real fighting, the rear naked choke puts you to sleep in less than 10 seconds. In wrestling, professional wrestling, the rear naked choke or the sleeper hold sort of weakens you. You're flailing your arms in the beginning, then you start to fade out, and then you come back to life and you get out of the sleeper hold. But in real fighting, you're sound asleep for 10 seconds, or you're sound asleep after 10 seconds until people rush the ring and wake you up and try to hit you. Come on, wake up. Ronda Rousey was beating people in 3 seconds with an arm bar. They were tapping the moment it was in. But in professional wrestling, you can be in an arm bar for half the match. And you're just writhing in pain on the mat, or you're really trying to get some feeling back in the arm that is basically snapped in half at this point. Maybe wrestlers are just tougher. Really, the flying body press, the Ricky Steamboat leap off the top flying body press, or the Superfly splash should really never happen. Right? Because, we've all seen a million times where the wrestler has to look dazed and then they can't find their opponent and then they turn around and, there's Ricky Steamboat, and you catch him in your arms and you fall down and he pins you. But we've also seen all Jimmy Snuka does to his opponent is body slam them. Then he takes 5, 10, 15 seconds to climb up to the top rope. The whole time the opponent is looking up at him, just from a body slam, looking up at him the whole time, while Jimmy Snuka leaps onto him. At no point in time does that prone wrestler have the ability to get out of the way. They're not knocked out. The only way you're going to perfect a Superfly leap is if your opponent is completely knocked out. Same with the Ricky Steamboat flying body press. I'm still going to be, even if I'm dazed and confused, I don't know where Ricky Steamboat is. He was here a minute ago. Maybe I should turn around. Even if I turn around, I still have enough time to see this person flying at me. I could simply get out of the way. I could get out of the way. I think we have enough time to get out of the way. I don't know. And finally, very early 80s WWF interviews. I'm talking 80, 81. Vince McMahon is at ringside in an empty arena, and he's promoting the big match in Rochester, New York. And we've got Don Morocco taking on Big Swede Hansen. Don Morocco, come on in. And Don Morocco walks in. Swede Hansen, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to murder you. If I see you, I'm going to rip your face off. You're mine, Swede Hansen. You're mine. Don Morocco exits left. Within half a second, Swede Hansen now comes in, and he's being interviewed by Vince McMahon. Oh, Don Morocco, don't threaten me. If I ever see you before this match, I'll kill you. We're going to kill each other. We hate each other. Swede Hansen leaves. Andre the Giant, come on in. Your opponent tonight in Rochester, Killer Khan, the man who broke your leg just a few months ago. Yeah, that's right, Killer Khan. If I ever see you, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you when I see you. Okay, thank you, Andre. Killer Khan, come on in. Andre, when I see you, I'm going to kill you. What is this? What logic is that? Now that, I think, should have made a lot of people upset in 80, 81. I can't think what is the reasoning behind this. What is Vince McMahon's logic? When at a time when kayfabe was supposed to be the most protected, we had to keep this thing going. You're going to actually allow one person to come in, talk a whole bunch of junk about their opponent. As they leave, their opponent comes in. They were in the same place, the same within feet of each other, and nothing happens. That early on would have turned, I think, a lot of people to go, what is going on here? How on earth are they maintaining their composure? They're acting like they're not in the same room. They're in the same room. I don't like that. That's the one that I think really blows it out of the water, really blows kayfabe. In 80, 81, when it was at its peak, the most believable time. There's a lot more wrestling things that make me go, What are some of yours? Let's talk about it. It's funny. This is fun. Let's have a fun conversation about this. We'll see you next time. Good night now.